CBS News confirmed the U.S. Coast Guard was still pursuing a third oil tanker connected to that Latin American country. Meanwhile, President Trump is issuing another warning to dictator Nicolas Maduro. CBS News Miami's Yvonne Taylor is your reporter in Doral tonight with the latest developments on this story. Yvonne.
And definitely it was a difficult subject to avoid, I can tell you this, because earlier today at a Mar-a-Lago presser, reporters, Jim, had to ask President Trump about Venezuela and what the Maduro regime is saying. And that is when Donald Trump sent a clear message to Nicolas Maduro.
He can do whatever he wants. It's all right. Whatever he wants to do. If he wants to do something, if he plays tough, it'll be the last time he's ever able to play tough.
That was President Donald Trump answering why Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro should take his threats seriously. Trump was surrounded by his top national security aides, including Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. He was seemingly cautious on what he discussed in terms of military actions in the Caribbean.
There's a question on what is the intended policy outcome that the president wants to get in Venezuela.
Richard Tapia is a political science professor at Miami-Dade College. He thinks Trump saying little means a lot is coming.
I believe there's going to be continued escalation. And the fact that they're not talking about it, but they've seized the third vessel and he didn't want to talk about it, presents that they're planning to escalate within the region. They're bringing in a seventh of the entire U.S. naval fleet is in the blockade with Venezuela. That is a significant amount of hardware to basically put into a particular area.
At least 3 oil tankers have been targeted by U.S. forces in the Caribbean. The first one was on December 10th. The second interception occurred last Saturday. Yesterday, the Coast Guard attempted to intercept a third vessel sailing towards Venezuela, but it refused to cooperate and sped away. As of late this afternoon, U.S. authorities were still in active pursuit. The president announced last week a total and complete blockade of all oil tankers sanctioned by Washington attempting to enter or leave Venezuela. Trump also sent a message to Gustavo Petro, president of Colombia, who has been very vocal against U.S. actions in the Caribbean.
He has to watch because, he's got drug factories. They make cocaine in Colombia. And he's no friend of the United States.
Also today, President Donald Trump announced plans to increase the U.S. military might by increasing the size of the Navy. We are live in Doral. Yvonne Taylor, CBS News, Miami.